All right, good afternoon. Today, we are going to practice how do you solve quadratic equations by taking square roots. Before we start, I need to point out that in order to solve by square roots, normally you can't have an x term. So like in this problem, we have an x squared term, we have a constant, and we have a constant. And basically what you try to do is you try to get the x squared by itself, because the way you undo an x squared is by square roots. Okay, so notice this problem does not have an x term. So you move the 2 over, move the 25 out of there, and now you have x squared, and then you take the square root of both sides. So solving by square roots is relatively easy. But you'll notice, like on number 9, that there is no x term. There's no x term. No x term, no x term, no x term, and so on. So I'm just going to kind of pick and choose which problems we do together. I'll start with number 9. So it says solve by using square roots. I could solve by factoring, but I am going to actually solve by using square roots. And here's what you do. So you're going to take that -9. You're going to move it to the other side. Okay. You always want to get your constant by itself. So now I have 9 equals 9x squared. If you have an x term, you do not do this. You'd move everything to one side. From there, I am going to divide. I'm trying to get the x squared by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 9. The 9's cancel. And now I get x squared equals, and 9 divided by 9 is 1. Okay, from there I need more space. I take the square root of both sides. So when I square root this, the square root and the square cancel. But when you square that side, you need to square the other side. And when you square root, you look at the positive and the negative of that number. So if I take the square root of x squared, I get just x. And the square root of 1 is 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. So you get equals plus or negative 1. I like to check my work. Let's go see. 9x squared minus 9 is 0. Looky there, -1 and 1. That's what I got. 1 and -1. This is the same thing. I know this is confusing for some kids, but this is the same thing as saying x is 1 and x is -1. It's just like a shortcut method. All right, let's look at number 10. I want to do number 10. So I would get rid of the 6 by subtracting 6 from both sides. Minus 6, minus 6. Bye-bye. And then I get 9x squared. Might as well use the text box. I get 9x squared equals, and 735 minus 6 is 729. Okay. From there, again, I'm trying to get the x squared by itself, so I'm going to divide by 9. And I'll be honest, I have no idea what 729 divided by 9 is. Let's go back to my Desmos. And I highly encourage you to use the scientific calculator. 729 divided by 9, 81. Cool. So now I got x squared equals 81. Okay. I take the square root of x squared, but when I square root this, I get just x. When I square root this, I get plus and the negative square root of 81. But the square root of 81 is 9. So I get x equals positive and negative 9. Check my work. Let's see. I would have to type this in. I'd have to move everything to one side. So that'd be 6 minus 735 would be negative 729. So I'd have to type this in as 9x squared minus 729. And you can see I get negative 9 and 9. So you may be asking or thinking, one second. You may be asking or thinking, what do you do when you do not have a perfect square? Like this is a perfect square, 81. That's a perfect square, 1. I don't remember if I have any examples. Oh, 15 would be a good example. 15, let's see. I would subtract 3 from both sides. Those go away. I get 100x squared. And why am I not using my text box? I don't know. But 100x squared equals 4. Divide by 100. That goes away. And I get x squared. That's, oh boy, a fraction. Sometimes I would simplify this before I move on, but this is a case where I'm actually going to leave 4 over 100 as 4 over 100. And the reason why is because 4 is a perfect square and so is 100. But normally you would reduce that. Like normally you would say, actually, I take that back. We should simplify that. 4 out of 100. I can't remember. So if I do 4 out of 100, I can't remember if they have a fraction button. Come on. I know most calculators do. 4, 100. Oh, there it is. You hit this button, simplifies for you. 1 over 25. Okay, you should be able to do that in your head, but just in case, I get 1 over 25. I take the square root of both sides, and I get x equals, and you take the square root of the numerator and the square root of the denominator. So you get positive and negative square root of 1 over square root of 25. Now, square root of 1, that's just 1. Takes forever to write this stuff down. So square root of 1, that's 1. Square root of 25, that's 5. So I just got x equals positive and negative 1/5. That's like 0.2 and negative 0.2. So if I wanted to type this in to check my work, I would subtract 7 from both sides. That'd be 100x squared, and then 3 minus 7 is negative 4. So I would type in 100 and x squared minus 4. And I see my x-intercepts are 0.2, negative 0.2. It's exactly what I just said. All right, I feel good. It is very important to check your work, especially when you're making a live video for someone. All right, I think you can handle the rest of that first section. The ones down here are exactly the same. They're just a little bit longer. Okay, I'll let you read through the example yourself. Notice we just have more stuff to get rid of. So just for the sake of time, I am going to do number 26. So number 26, I would first get rid of that 10. Subtract it from both sides. Those go away. I'm actually going to use the text box this time. I get 5x minus 7 squared equals 180. And then I need to get rid of the 5, so I'm going to divide both sides by 5. The 5s divide out and make just 1. 180 divided by 5 is 36. Nice. So now I get x minus 7 squared equals 36. All right, from there I could take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. That's going to get this as x minus 7. The square root cancels out the square. And here, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. It's going to be positive and negative square root of 36. Now, square root of 36, and if you get a number that's not a perfect square, depending on your teacher, you could either reduce it, like breaking into the perfect squares, try to simplify it that way, or sometimes your teacher is okay with decimals. I prefer you try to simplify that radical, but if you have to use decimals, that's fine. If you take college algebra after this, they will not be okay with that. But to finish, I would add 7, well, actually, let's leave this alone for now. Square root of 36 is 6. And then I want to add 7 to both sides. So if I add 7 to both sides, I get x equals 7 plus or minus 6. So what does that mean? That means one of your answers is 7 plus 6. Okay, so one of your answers is 7 plus 6. That is 13. Your other answer is 7 minus 6, which is 1. So I think the answer is 13 and 1. If I were to type this into Desmos, I would do minus 190 from both sides. That'd be 10 minus 190 would be negative 180. So I would type in this with negative 180 and look for the x-intercepts. I have 1 and I have 13. What did I get? 1 and 13. Looky there. I got the same thing. And remember, in order to find the x-intercepts, you need this equal to 0. So I subtracted 190 from both sides, and I knew that 10 minus 190 is negative 180. And that's why I typed this in as negative 180. Okay. So I think that's plenty to get you started. Your job is to finish the rest. So you have 25, but you have 7 problems on this page to do. And notice the more you're zoomed in, the nicer it looks. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the other page, it looks like. Okay. So good luck. These don't take terribly too long, especially if you do them on paper, but feel free to use Kami. I hope everything goes well, and I am available if you have questions. I will see you later. All right. Bye-bye.